Peace and love, family. Peace and love. It's your boy Chris Enlightened coming back again with some more spiritual vittles. And today I'm going in on, is heaven and hell real? Ooh, this is a good one, family. This is a good one. I want to give a shout out to my man Westman13. Well, West13. You asked me a question and what I'm going to be doing going forward, because I feel as if I done covered so much. I'm reaching out to my audience to give me suggestions on what I can talk about. And give me some suggestions on what I can talk about that'll sustain at least 10 minutes of talking. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get a lot of good questions, a lot of good emails. And one thing about me, I reply to all y'all because I love y'all. Y'all out there winning. And I feel as it's my duty, if I'm presenting something to you, it's just my code to respond back. So if I haven't responded back, send another message, send another email. I'm here for y'all. You know what I'm saying? I know this stuff, and I'm just sharing a little bit of my information with you guys. You know what I'm saying, family? So West 13, this is for you. And you asked me if heaven or hell is real. And this is a good one because most humans, especially black folk, we've been ingrained and programmed to believe that heaven and hell are real. Big mama, your mama, great auntie, great grandma, most of them were religious and they believed in that stuff because it was given to them, it was beaten to them, and they were like earnestly implored to believe a certain way. And unfortunately, when they were believing in these things, that was all they could hold on to. That was their only solace to the world. That was the only thing that was giving them peace of mind, the afterlife. And one thing about most religion is it's embodied with a whole bunch of spiritual poverty. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that a lot of the stuff is just, speculation. But again, you can say this is speculation. Who knows? But one thing I know for sure, ain't no heaven and hell. One thing about death is this. When you transition, there's a couple things that happen. You're going to be judged on how much light you have and how much darkness you have. You know what I'm saying? And depending on how much of what you have depends on where you go. It dictates where you go. Now, I'm not saying there's not a hell, but what I'm saying is there is a place for people who feel as if they need to go to a low vibratory place to dissolve some of their negative financial karma, and it's so cold that it burns. There's no ghoul with no tail and horns hurting you and begging you to do just none of that, man. And one thing about spiritual poverty is you believe what people tell you. And I'm here to tell you, ain't no heaven and hell, family. Now, there is like a purified land that a lot of evolved people go to, but there's multiple different dimensions that you can transition to once you transition. You know what I mean? For those who are working on their body of light, they're working on their Jalus pot, they're saying divine prayers, they have a lot of good in their heart, they do a lot of good and things like that. Some of them people, depending on their level of understanding, when they transition, they're going to be ushered away to higher realms of consciousness and existing. You know what I mean? Where people laugh for 1,000 years. There's no death, there's no crime, because this is an evolved place where evolved souls and sentient beings traverse to. Now, again, there are a lot of people who have a lot of suffering in their heart. They feel as if they've done a lot of wrong. And their consciousness will not allow them to go to a higher realm of existence. They can't exist there because they're vibrating so low. And for people like that, people who are murdered people who did a bunch of negative crimes, they go to a place of rest. And this place, they don't sleep here. This place is void of the Creator's light. And it's so cold that it burns. And to those people, they may feel as if they're in hell. But I have to tell you this, family. I have to tell you this. No matter where you go, you don't have to stay there. Even if you do end up in this place void of light and it's so cold that it burns, once you no longer have a need to suffer, you can usurp yourself up out of that place. You can call on higher celestial vibrating beings to help usher you out of that place. One thing about being in this lower place void of the Creator's light, when you pray and when you ask for help, your prayers only go so far because you're in such a low vibratory place. The highest your prayers get is to earth, to you. So sometimes whenever you transition and you feel this need in your earthly self, you feel like there's something calling me to vibrate higher or evolve. When you evolve, you can evolve your lower self up out of that lower place. It's just as simple as that. That's why ancestor altars are so important. People who haven't been taught to get light, you can give them light by way of your altar. You can give them love, well wishes, money, and things like that by way of your altar to help raise them up out of that place, family. There's a thing called a crucible. I'm not sure if you know about crucibles or spiritual crucibles, but spiritual crucibles are created by angels or angels of light to help dissolve the need to suffer for a long period of time. So instead of you suffering for 20 years on earth, your lower self or your higher self could make a deal stating that, you know what, I'm going to allow my lower self to suffer a little bit, go through this crucible to alleviate some of the pressure of your earthly self, and vice versa. Sometimes you go through a crucible on earth for 5 years that would save your lower self from suffering for 50 years. It's a deal that you make. You know what I'm saying? But if you do find yourself in a lower place, a lower domain, similar to earth, but it's void of light and it's so cold that it burns, you really have to be mindful of all your practices and all the teachings that you bypassed while you were living. You know what I'm saying? Even though you're not aware, or even if you transition and you haven't memorized the Anabacoa or the divine prayers, your subconscious mind remembers them if you've heard them. So that's why my Anabacoa video is so popular on YouTube, because a lot of people who know the power of it, and they just let it play on loop around their house. It's a great cleansing tool. It's a tool to add light to your soul and your ancestor's soul. But I'm here to tell you, family, heaven, there's no place where you're going to go and just be worshiping the Creator all day like that. Just think about that. Just think about you creating your child, okay? Think about you having a child. Do you want to be sitting up on a chair and having your children on their knees just begging and praying to you all day? What sense does that make, family? What sense does that make? But again, for some people, it makes a lot of sense to them. And for them, you got to let them have that. You got to let them have that. Because cognitive dissonance sets in when you try to tell somebody something that's so far beyond their level of understanding that they get mad at you. They're going to get mad at you and dismiss it and try to rebuttal you so much that they're just taking away the message. So when I see someone believing in certain things, I don't say, hey, that's the wrong thing. I just give thanks because I used to be there, or an aspect of one of my incarnations used to be there. So if you're listening to this video and you choose to listen to me and follow my page, I don't want you going to other Christians, Muslims, any religious practitioner telling them that what they're doing is wrong, because it's their path. Some people come to suffer. Some people come to earth to suffer. The same way you came here to win. I know you're a winner because you're watching this video. You wouldn't be watching this video if you wasn't a winner, because I attract other people who win it. Money doesn't equate to winning. The mindset is everything. All is mind and mind is all. It's the first universal law. Go up and look up the universal laws and master them all by using them, applying them in your life. One thing about the universal laws is a lot of people read them, but they don't have an understanding of how to apply them in their life. I'm going to do a video on applying the universal laws. I'm going to have a 7 sets of series of videos on how to apply the universal laws in your life, just to make you become indifferent to things. Because a lot of humans been ingrained to hold on or anchor anger within their consciousness, and everything is filtered through their level of understanding. But when it comes to heaven, family, there is a place called the purified lands. And depending on how much light you have in your soul when you transition, and how much spiritual evolution or how much work you've worked on yourself spiritually, you may get ushered there or not. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people get ushered there and choose to reincarnate to help the earth, the sentient beings on earth evolve. You know what I'm saying? You may be one of them. So we feel as if you're good at speaking, or you're a great divulger of information that may help people win. I feel as if it's your duty to get a YouTube page, to create a blog, to write some books, to do public speaking. Heck, call people up and help people evolve if they're asking. But you can't force nobody to evolve. But what you can do is aspire to inspire people to choose to evolve by dropping nickel bags of your light out there. And that's just all I'm doing. This whole page, the premise of the enlightened journey is to get you guys thinking beyond the boundaries of your pre-programmed programming. You know what I'm saying? Everything that was given to you is truth, but it becomes truth when you believe it's truth. The same way that you can take someone can give you a false truth or a lie, and you read it, and your mama, your grandmama, your brothers and sisters, your daddy, all of them believe it, more than likely you'll believe it too. If you're not a strong being. Me, I just wasn't having it. Didn't make sense. The question you must ask yourself is, how many inconsistencies does it take for you not to believe in something? If you have an unlimited amount of inconsistencies that you're okay with putting your soul on the line, feel free to believe how you believe. Me, I gotta know the real. You know what I'm saying? So before I believe in anything, I do my due diligence by researching on it. And unfortunately, most people don't research. I know some people that the only book they read is the religious book that's been given to them. And anything outside the confines of that book is blasphemous or a lie. Again, I got family members that I love that believe that way. And I don't bring up my YouTube page. I don't bring up my books because I know it's going to cause cognitive dissonance within their consciousness. And they're just going to dissolve or dispel anything I say. This it's not for them though. A lot of people come here to suffer until they no longer have a need to suffer. And unfortunately, you can't jump in front of other people's karma. You can't do that. When you do that, you're cheating them and you're hurting yourself. You're cheating them by helping them get something that they're not spiritually ready for. And then what happens to you, you take a little bit of their negative karma, unfavorable karma, and it adheres to you. And you have to deal with that. But back to heaven and hell. I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I was 9 years old, I transitioned. I got hit by a car, and I remember seeing myself laying on the ground. And I knew that was a continuation of consciousness because I wasn't even aware of what was going on. Again, I don't even know if I was dead. All I know is I'm up in the sky like 15, 20 feet looking at my body. Pure peace, not worried at anything, no pain, no sensations. It was just a 360 awareness. You know what I mean? And when I got zapped back in my body, I started feeling like this excruciating pain and things like that. And at 9 years old, back in 1984, it was back in 1984, I was 9 years old. I didn't know what a near-death experience was. I didn't know anything about NDEs. All I knew is something happened to me that I didn't even have the lexicons or the vernacular to explain to anyone yet. Because I was from the hood. I hadn't read anything or seen any movies about transitioning or near-death experiences. So, but that experience was like with me my whole life. I was big on sci-fi. I was big on like death movies because I was trying to find answers to one of the experiences that happened to me. And just like me, we've all had supernatural experiences that makes us think beyond the boundaries of what we've been told is truth. Now, no one ever told me about what happens when you transition. I know for a fact what happened to me. Now, I've talked to other people who had near-death experiences, and some of their experiences was different. So I know not everyone has the same path when they transition. Depending on what's going on within your consciousness, depending on what you've done in this life or previous life, or heck, even future lives. It depends on who created your soul. Depends on where you go, family. It really depends on where you go. But again, if you believe in hell and you feel as if you've done a lot of bad things, when you transition, you have the power to create a domain within your own mind, and you will go there. You'll go there. If you believe in heaven or some figure coming to save you, you're going to create an experience where that will be true for you. Is it real or fake? I don't know. All I know is ain't no heaven and hell. Ain't no heaven and hell. But you choose to believe how you want to believe. One thing about humans is we have this innate ability to know when someone's telling you the truth or when someone is lying. You might not even be able to prove it, but you'll feel it. And what I'm saying is my authentic truth. My spiritual master, Dr. Mitchell Gibson, we used to have seminars around the country where we would go and we would just sit for hours and just ask my father, my spiritual master, all these questions. I mean, I have tablets up here $2,000-$3,000 books up here where it goes in heavy on some of the questions that we've asked. But I'm here to tell you, family, there's no heaven and hell. There's a certain some people die so traumatic they don't even know that they're dead. They don't even know that they're dead. They continue to traverse the earth because they're tied to so much things here: money, homes, cars, lovers, drinking, drugs. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do a video on how do you know that you're dead, or how do you know that you're alive. I'm gonna do that tomorrow and drop that for you guys, because there are some things that occur to human beings when they transition that aren't taught in these books. They're just not taught. And that's something that I know for a fact. I'm fortunate to be married to an oracle, and she has some inside connections with things that most humans don't. And I give thanks for her. She's the real powerhouse, but she just doesn't have a need to share. She shares with me, and I in turn share with you some of the things that we've learned and some of the things she's experienced in different subspace domains within our earthly domain. So hopefully you got some jewels on is heaven or hell real. To recap, nah, it ain't real. It ain't real. Some people who have done a lot of negativity, they have so much negativity and detritus or spiritual waste or dark light in their consciousness. When you transition, you go to a place where it's needed to dissolve a lot of your karma. One thing about what happens when you die, when you transition, because there is no death, there's just a continuation of consciousness. What's every inside of you is magnified. You know what I'm saying? So if you have a lot of light in you, it's going to be like a plethora or a myriad or the extreme abundance of light within you when you transition. And when you transition, these beings will see that. Just imagine, you got millions of people dying every day, but only a few of those beings have this celestial light bellowing within their consciousness. Something's going to swoop down and make sure you don't get taken to a place that they'll take your life. It's just as simple as that. You're going to be protected. So that's why it's so imperative that you do things now to help people evolve, help yourself evolve. You don't have to do it, but just imagine you creating something and you have 75% of your creation destroying your creation, but you got this 25% out here that's vibrating high, visually lit up because they have so much light in you. You're going to help them people out. You're going to make sure that nothing comes to hurt those people when it's time for them to transition. But again, if you have a lot of darkness in yourself when you transition, that's going to be magnified, and you're going to choose to go to a place void of the Creator's light, because you're going to be vibrating so low and you're going to have so much negativity in you. There's no way you can go to the purified lands. You can't go to a place full of light when you've lost a lot of your soul facets. And our soul facets are very important. Things like excessive cheating, drugs, heavy alcohol, negativity, murder, excessive lying. They dissolve a lot of your light facets. We have over 600 light facets to our consciousness. And if you lose some, it's hard to get them back, but you can get them back, and I'll go into that later. I may do another video on that, how to get your soul facets back. But when you lose enough of your soul facets, it prevents you from making rational, good decisions. You ever see someone who has done drugs, extreme alcoholic, cheater, abuser, liar? They just can't get right. And it's not that they don't want to get right. They don't have their soul facets to make them make rational decisions. But I'm here to tell you, family, if you watch any of my videos, you can call out to your soul facets through the sun and beg earnestly to get your soul facets back. You just can't be doing a bunch of negativity and say, hey, soul facets, come back home, baby. It don't work like that. You got to really mean it. And one thing about the spirit, you can't lie to it. You can't use your guttural language to try to finesse spirit like that, or the universe, or your higher self. Your thoughts are read. They know your heart. They know your heart. So if I was you, I would just focus on growing as much as you can spiritually, taking in as much sunlight, and give it as much light as you can. One thing about the eyes are, these are little suns. And what they do is take in light and they give light. You find someone that you love that's really cool, you can look at them in their, especially babies. You can just look at them in their eyes and there will be a light transference. You know what I'm saying, family? I may do another video on that. But hopefully you got some jewels on whether if there's a heaven or hell. You want to support me, go out to Amazon, pick up any one of my 6 books, The Enlightened Thoth, Poverty Consciousness, Wealth Consciousness, Dissolving Your Limitations, Consciousness Equals Choice, or Seeds of Time. If you want to support me, definitely like and subscribe. If you really want to support me, share this video with people. You ain't got to share it on your Facebook or Instagram page. I accept if you do, but just send it to someone in a message. If not this video, your favorite video of your choice, because I'm doing this for you guys. This whole page is my way of raising the vibration of this planet. I'm not talking about anything negative. I'm talking about a bunch of positivity, family. We need more of that. In one of my videos last week, I talk about how negativity is prevalent. It's born within this earthly domain. But light and love, although we can see the Creator's love and light for us, we have to create that. We have to create and share love and light, family. So I'm challenging you all to start doing that. Okay, family? So on that note, it's your boy Chris Enlightened. You already know what I'm doing. I'm out here winning.